Hey, Hudson Valley, you're Keepin Company with Conor, and you're listening to another Townsquare Spotlight. We got a great guest with us today, one that I just met by chance, but you know what? Sometimes doors are open for us that are meant to be open, and I think that's very true in this case. With us today is Bree L Taylor. She's the author of Walking in Her Own Shoes, A Journey of Faith. It's a new book. She's a Hudson Valley author. I just ran into her at one of her book signings by chance, and I'm so happy to have her in the studio right now. Bree, how are you today?
Good morning, Conor. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And again, it was just a random meetup at Barnes & Noble. You were having a book signing over there for your book. Mm-hmm. The book is brand new. Yes. When exactly did it come out, though?
It came out last October of 23.
Okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm. So only several months that it's been out now. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, you're a local Hudson Valley author. Where exactly are you from in the area?
I'm down from the LaGrangeville area.
Oh, perfect. So, yeah, this was not a hard drive for you whatsoever to get over here.
Not at all.
We love that when it's like real nice and simple. I always hate when somebody's having to drive like over an hour to get here or something. So this is perfect. Beautiful, beautiful. So, yes, Walking in Her Own Shoes, A Journey of Faith. It's your first novel. That's so impressive. I started the book, as I told you off the mic. I'm about like 50 pages in. I love it so far. Mm-hmm. I'm reading like 4 other things at the same time, so I'm rotating. But it's a great book, and I think that it's a great first start for you. Do you think after this first project, you'll probably be writing more books and more novels?
I'll tell you, I started a second book already.
Fantastic.
Yes, so I'm looking forward to getting that out eventually. It takes time. It's a big undertaking to write a book. I didn't realize it till I started. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the second book. That'll probably not be coming out for another year or so.
That's still pretty good, though.
Yes, yeah.
So
absolutely.
While we have you here, since we're talking about the first new book that you have, Walking in Her Own Shoes, without giving away too many spoilers, can you tell us a little bit about this book?
Well, it's the life journey of a young woman from her childhood until her passing at an older age. But her life's journey is filled with overcoming and resilience. Mm. She faces challenges. She finds clarity. She also finds joy and personal peace as she gets older.
Nice. Mm-hmm. No, that's very beautiful. And one thing that I've noticed, it's very faith-driven at the same point as well. And your faith is very important to you, and it really inspired a lot of the ways that the character of Ariana, correct?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
It was the way that Ariana kind of lived her life and overcame a lot of things. So would you be willing to talk to us about your experience with your faith and how that inspired the character of Ariana?
Well, my faith is over 50 years old. Mm. I came to know the Lord 50 years ago. I thought about, the thought came to me about 12, 13 years ago to write a book, and I thought, where did that thought come from? I never even thought about writing a book. I didn't know how to write a book or where to start. And I mulled it over in my mind for a while, and then it just kind of passed. And then 2 years ago, I was watching a movie about 2 authors that fell in love, one who did not finish the book. Oh. And after that movie was over, the Lord clearly said to me, now you have to write the book. And I was stunned at that. Because then it said to me, he gave me that thought 12 years ago. So my father, by chance, was a part-time journalist. So I'm thinking, well, maybe that came through the family line somehow, And I thought, what can I write about? And then it came to me that I had known so many people who had had so many miracles in their life and so many interesting life journeys that what if I incorporated everything into the life of one person and went through that from birth until death. And the interesting thing is that she starts out in her childhood like we all do. We all have life experiences. And I guess most people could write a book if they could put it into words.
It's not easy, though.
It's not easy to do. But, the interesting thing was when you get that okay in your spirit to write a book, I sat down at the computer and I was writing 3 or 4 hours a day without stopping.
Wow.
It just flowed through me. That's how you know that you're meant to
do something.
Meant to do something, exactly. I went through her childhood and how she was affected by her parents, her family, outside influences, the challenges from a child when she grew up, and how difficult she found things because she was from a dysfunctional family. And as she gets older, she has to find out where she belongs in life, because she was taught always how to be nice and how to be proper all the time, but never given the meat of life, how to save your money, how to pick out good people to hang around with, And that is so important to a child as they're growing up, is the parental guidance that they receive. My parents were good people. They had good intentions, but way back when, and I'm 73 now, so I started this book when I was 71. When I was a child, we didn't know what we know today.
Yeah.
So you were given very superficial advice in order to get along in life.
You're taught what to expect, but not necessarily how to deal with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So she goes through her teens and she has a very difficult time fitting in, trying to find out, where she's supposed to go. And because of her experiences with the men in her family and her father, she had no idea how to pick a man. And she wound up picking the wrong man, and she goes through life with him, and she has children, and she experiences a lot of difficulties, not only in her marriage, but with her children. And before she got married, probably about 4 or 5 years, her best friend came to her with the Lord and told her about the Lord in the Bible and all the wonderful things that were in it, and how God is someone to lean on. Not a weakness, just to lean on, because he can answer prayer. And so she goes through this journey now, trying to have the Lord order her steps and help her get through and figure out where she's supposed to be, how she's supposed to handle her husband, her kids. And that follows her through her life with many, many difficulties. She learns slowly. She learns about forgiveness. She learns about unconditional love. She learns about miracles in her life. And also, forgiveness was a big thing, because she had to, in her relationship, she had to, exude a lot of forgiveness towards people. And that's something that could only come by prayer, by having faith, by, reading the Bible and learning where God fits in your life, because he wants to fit in everybody's life. A lot of people don't want him, but he wants to fit into people's lives. And I find a lot of people always turn to the Lord when they go through a difficult time, instead of turning to him when they're in
the good times, right?
The good times in their life, And so this just goes through her life and shows you how the Lord works out all of these things for her. Some take a long time, some answers come fairly quickly, but as long as she stays in her faith in him, he's able to work through her so that he can accomplish in her life what he wants to accomplish. And she achieves that. She achieves that as she goes through life, and she has wonderful answers to prayer towards the end of her life. It's just a wonderful journey of how God loves us. It's a good book for men, too, because it shows men exactly how they affect women when they do certain things, how they affect their daughters and their sons, And a lot of men don't want to be bothered with that, but they have an important role in their children's lives.
Absolutely.
They show a girl how to pick a husband, and they show a son how to be a husband to a woman,
Yeah.
And a lot of men don't think about taking on that role, but, they're producing the next society. So it's very important that they spend time with their children doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it already, as I said, I think I'm about 50 pages in, and right now, there's a lot of things that I can relate to that I've seen myself in my own life. Right. I've seen it in my family members. Right. And the fact that you kind of piecemealed all these experiences and miracles from people that you knew in your life just makes this so authentic and very genuine. And as you're giving a description of this book, and as of what I've read so far, it just really reminds me of this song, 100 Years by Five for Fighting, if you're familiar with the song. Actually, I just had John Ondrasik from Five for Fighting on this program.
Yes.
And it's one of my favorite songs, but the whole span of a lifetime.
Yes.
And how to put one whole, fully lived life into words.
Yes.
And I think it's really incredible because it's great for somebody of any point in their life, whether you're somebody like me in their mid-20s still figuring it out and you're wondering what the hell the future is going to be,
right.
or somebody who's a little later in life looking back on their life, there are so many spots where you can see yourself in this novel.
Yes.
I think that's really impressive.
Absolutely. It gives us lessons as people. We try self-help books. Yeah. We try advice from friends. And, when you're really in a bind, or even if it's just something simple, you're only going to get a human answer. And human answers are flawed.
Yes.
And they don't bring us happiness many times, But, if we just give ourselves over to the Lord and tell our problems to him or what we need, he's there to take care of all of our needs. Philippians 4:19 says, my God shall supply all of my needs according to his riches and glory. Those scriptures apply to people who believe, not people who don't want to have anything to do with God.
Yeah.
So if you're having a hard time, the place to turn to is the Lord. Try him. You have nothing to lose,
It's worth
and everything to
experiencing.
gain. Yeah, it's a wonderful experience for sure. And once you kind of get what God can do for you, it is amazing how the doors open for you and your life in healing, in forgiveness, in your journey and getting answers to prayers for your career, your finances, your health, your family. There's answers for everything. But, when you come to him, he has a plan for each of our lives. He's a creator. We don't put him in a box. We don't give him human qualities. But he is a divine spirit who wants to work in every single person's life to give them what they need. That's within his plan. And everything in his plan is good. God doesn't give us anything that's not good. It's the imperfect world we live in that gives us the problems, the imperfections, the unhappiness.
Yeah.
That's not God's will for our lives.
Yeah. Something that I was actually just saying to a friend of mine, we just got together for lunch, and we were having a very faith-based discussion, talking about how, faith is divine, but institution is man.
Absolutely.
And it's us who will muck it up. So it was a very interesting discussion. I'm glad that I had it with him. And that's very much kind of how I've gone about things in recent years. But one thing I really want to talk about now is you mentioned already that you've had a long career before becoming an author. And you had this divine inspiration to become an author. But you didn't have that experience. You weren't a writer. Sure, you said your dad was a journalist before, so you kind of had that. You told me off the mic you were in marketing before, so you're familiar with radio stations. This is your first interview, though.
Exactly.
So that's cool, and I will take that with a moment of pride. So with that being said, with your other aspects of your career, do you feel that those moments and lessons that you got from that helped you in creating this novel?
Absolutely. Every experience that I have had in my own life where I have had answered prayer or have had the help that I need at the moment that I need it has helped me to look at the lives of other people and see how their life has been inspired by God, the steps they took, the challenges they faced, how they went about opening, having the Lord open those doors for them to answered prayer. I mean, there are so many things. There's emotional healing in the book. There's healings of people, literal healings that are true, that I have experienced. And I found those such a blessing to write about because God was watching over all of those people as they prayed and had faith in them, And there's a story about a gentleman who lost 3 children. And I'm sorry, 2 out of 3 children. And devastated, ruined the marriage, couldn't get back up, going because they were there one day and not the next. And he had 1 child left. Years later, he gets a call from a young lady who says, I am your daughter. And I get chills when I tell this story. He called me and he said, I don't get this. He said, she said she's my daughter. I mean, we're going to go through blood tests and things. I said, well, when you were younger, who did you go out with? And he said, the only thing I remember, now this man is in his late 70s at this point. He went out with a girl when she was 19 years old. They had a relationship. He said, and one day she just disappeared.
Oh, wow.
And I said, Do you think that maybe when she found out she was pregnant by you, back in those days, girls hid themselves because it was very embarrassing to have a child out of wedlock? And he said, I never thought of that. And I said, I will be quite sure that that's the woman who mothered the child.
Wow.
And now this child is looking for her father.
Wow.
And she went and had a blood test. He had the blood test, and that was his daughter. And I said to him, do you see how God restored what you had lost? He gave you another child. And he said to me, but I never thought about that. And I said, God is good. You continue to have faith in him, and he will show you blessings that are beyond what you could ever think or ask. And he was quite touched by that. And I had given him a Bible when his children passed away. And I encouraged him to read the Bible also. But I did find out later on that those two children who passed away had gone to vacation Bible school, and they had both accepted the Lord. So they went right into the presence of the Lord when they died. Mm-hmm. And I was filled with joy with that for him, you know? Mm-hmm. So see how God works, maybe in not the way we want him or think he may, but all of a sudden things come together and you get a blessing years later that you never knew even existed.
That's insane.
It is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Truly.
Yeah. So the more people you speak to, you know, who people of faith that you speak to, they will give you testimonies of their own lives that will encourage you in your own life so that you open your own heart to God and you ask him to come in, ask the Lord to come into your heart and guide you in the plan he has for you, which is a plan of happiness, not a plan of misery, you know. So it's quite interesting, the people that you meet when you start talking to people.
Chills too. Seriously, stuff like that is crazy. And I'm excited to continue the rest of the book and finish it. So where can people get this book from you?
You can go to Amazon, which is the most common place to pick it up.
Yep.
If you go to Barnes & Noble, it's a print on demand, so you could request the book. They'll have it printed, and they'll call you in to pick it up when they get it. The publisher is Westbow Press. Mm-hmm. You can go to their website and pick up the book. So it's available very many places, thriftbooks.com, Kindle. If people like Kindle, they can get it on Kindle.
And, of course, you have your own website, correct?
I have my own. I have my own. They have a website for me on Westbow Press.
Okay.
And then I do have a Facebook page with Bree L Taylor /author. Mm-hmm. That is my Facebook page that I update people on. But I've gotten so much good feedback from this book.
Amazing.
From people that I've never met, you know. And that's the hand of God. You know, I've been blessed, and I'm so happy that's
when you're able to open those doors, you never know where it's going to take you at that point.
You don't know.
Bree, I'm so happy that I was able to have you here on this episode. Before we completely wrap up, though, I just want to end on this last little piece. As I said, this was something that you started later. This was something that was implanted in you about 12, 13 years ago. This was a long process before it finally became a thing. Mm-hmm. What do you have to say to those in the Hudson Valley who are hesitant or waiting or feel like it's too late for them to start something that they're wanting to do, whether that be write a book or start an instrument that they've always wanted to do or start a new hobby or something they think they are well past? What's your advice for them to get into it?
Well, I will tell you, it took me 71 years to do it. And the Lord opened the door for it. So no matter what age you are, if you're in tune with God, God will show you exactly where to go and what to do in order to accomplish your heart's desire. But you have to have faith, you know. Some people say, oh, it's luck. I will tell you, God has nothing to do with luck. And if it's luck, it usually doesn't work out properly. Mm-hmm. So I would say, pray about it. Pray about going forth. Give the desires of your heart to God. And at some point when he knows it's right for you, he will open that door, whether it's to play an instrument or play on a football field or start to write a book the way I did. Mm-hmm. You know, those doors can be opened if you have faith. And we're in a period of time now where we need a lot of faith about a lot of things. People need to kind of sit down and think about that. Right now we're in difficult times.
Yeah.
And it's great to be able to start something new for yourself to offset some of the difficulties that are the noise in the background,
Yes.
And,
yes. 100%.
Faith will do it. Faith will do it for sure.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Bree, thank you so much for being here on this Townsquare Spotlight. Again, you can check out this book, Walking in Her Own Shoes, A Journey of Faith. You can check that out wherever pretty much you get books. We'll have links in the description of this interview for you to be able to find it all. Bree, thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure, Conor.